I'd have to decide. Should I follow this new lead, or continue with Marconi's tip about Phylax? The click under my feet made me wince. For a brief moment, I thought I was done for. But I'm still here. A dud. Luck was on my side tonight, but I better not tempt fate again.
So there are mines scattered all over this forest. They're easily identifiable, but we have to be super careful not to step on them or we die instantly. Now, the first time you make your way through this forest, it's something of a hold on the music. The first time you make your way through this forest, it's something of a maze, but I've been through here a couple times now. It's actually really easy to weave around and through the mines. I didn't expect it to be so easy with the Doom-style control system, but you actually have a lot of freedom of movement. This forest is actually my favorite area in the game, not for combat or gameplay purposes, but aesthetically. I just really like how the blue trees look in contrast to everything around them. It's really stylish. As we get closer to our goal, there are more and more mines, and that actually makes it easier because there's only one way to go through, really. So the mines are obviously a challenge in the gameplay, but we haven't talked about what they mean narratively. There's someone back here, and they really don't want us back here with them. We're certainly onto something.
Damn, sniper fire. Something told me this wasn't gonna be that easy.
So we were just shot at, and the only thing we have for cover are these bales of hay. You can see when you're about to be hit. This isn't too difficult, it's basically just red light, green light. This section is the most, this level is the most atypical of all the stages in the game. Not a lot of punching in this one. And we're here at the shack with a rather foreboding atmosphere. Here's the cop car. The cop certainly isn't in sight, though. I'm sure he'd be asking what we were doing here. That's not a good noise. Right, so here's what I consider to be the most difficult enemy in the game. Thanks to the game's hit detection troubles and, well, Wolfie's speed, he's very hard to hit. There is a weapon, thankfully, around the side of the house that we can use to help us out. I always have a rather embarrassingly hard time actually picking it up, though. You didn't need to see me fumble around for another 3 minutes trying to fight the dog, trust me. So it looks awfully, murdery in here, which is probably what we should have expected. We don't actually have any business inside the house right now. Well, we do, just not inside the main house. The basement's where it's at. It's a bit of a maze down here, especially with the lights off. But we can kind of feel our way through. Hey, the power's on. Looks like there's someone, chained up behind that wall. We're gonna assume they're not a bad guy, considering they're chained up in a basement. Hey look, a shovel next to what look like, graves. Unmarked graves. I'm sure that's perfectly normal.
With all my strength, I strike the crumbling rock wall with my shovel. Stones break free and I shatter and fall to the ground, releasing a plume of dust, soil, and concrete. Cover my mouth and cough wretchedly from the debris as I inhale a mouthful of the cloud. After the fog clears, I'm blown away by what lay before me. Tied to an old wooden chair, barely conscious, sits a member of the New York's finest. So then closer I noticed the badge of Sergeant Johnson. Sergeant Gary Johnson. An old colleague of mine from the force. We used to cross paths in the illegal arms department. I tug at his bindings and help him to his feet. He tells me he's investigating a child disappearance when he was struck unconscious and tied up in the basement, barely alive. He fills me in on what he knows. Whoever lives here is one dangerous, sick son of a bitch. Dozens of cadavers and lost children are kept here. Frozen, buried, eaten. Cannibalism, pedophilia, you name it happened. I helped Gary back to the squad so he can call for backup. I'm not finished here just yet. For some, incarceration isn't justice. And for others, death is too kind.
So we're gonna go beat up a murderer with a shovel. But I got distracted and forgot an Easter egg, so we're gonna go back for just a second. Excuse the jump cut. Now that the power's on, we can actually see the inside of the house a little bit better. And that includes a room upstairs. A room filled with missing children's posters. This room isn't necessary to explore at all, but it is a neat little Easter egg. I do believe the developer's picture is on this wall somewhere. We're not going to take the time to find it, though. So there's not really a mystery anymore as to what happened here. Someone's been murdering and eating children. I'm sure the cops could come here shortly and deal with this themselves, but we are a dangerous alcoholic war veteran. Just sitting by and letting stuff happen isn't exactly what we're best at.
Through the fog, I see a hulking behemoth striking my direction. He's huge. Goliath to my David. 30 stones easy. He doesn't speak. His heavy brow hides the gaze of his eyes. I sense a rage welling up inside me, greater than I have ever felt. It's time to fell this son of a bitch now. He's huge, but that means he has huge guts. Rip and tear.
So we're fighting a serial killer in a frozen locker full of children's bodies. This is definitely an interesting detour the story can take. It kind of comes out of nowhere in context with the rest of the game, but it's kind of neat. If only for how entirely unexpected it is. Now let's talk about Hugo. Hugo is a very, very easy boss fight. We just apply the same strategy to him that we have to everyone else in the game. He's one of the few character sprites that gets significantly more bloody the more you hit him.
I strike the corpse's head over and over again until there's little left but soft chunks and enough teeth for dental identification. I spit on the body for good measure. Feels good. Too good. I stumble back to the squad car covered in blood. Gary doesn't ask questions, just fine since I'm not in the mood to answer them. After a few minutes, he asks what brought me to the backwoods farmhouse. I fill him in. A woman and a missing son, the kidnapping and my daughter, and the bloodshed on the way. I catch a quick glimpse of Gary's face. It's swollen, bad, and bloody, but I still see it. A look in his eyes that tells me he knows something. He doesn't say much. He doesn't have to. A name. Peter Crisp. Head of the Filex Corporation. My wife's former employer. Find him, he says, and I'll probably find the answer I've been fighting for. The squad car slows to a crawl and stops in front of an enormous pillar of concrete and glass. Gary tells me my business is my own, but he'll have no part in it. Nor does he want to know what I have planned. He drives off into the night until I only hear silence. I find myself standing at the Filex building. I'll either leave with my daughter or in a pine wood box. It'll end no other way.